Vanity Fair magazine has called Eric Lanlard the best patissier in the world. But when it came to naming his business, he chose a simpler moniker, Cake Boy. The Frenchman came to Britain in 1989 to work for the famous Roux Brothers before establishing his own patisserie in 1995. He's in constant demand, catering for everything from commercial airlines to luxury hotels. And he'll be baking for afternoon teas in the private boxes at Royal Ascot beginning on Tuesday. And Eric joins me now. And I'm thrilled to say that you have not come empty-handed. You've come bearing gifts and cakes. How lovely to see you. Welcome to GBU.
My pleasure. And usually everywhere I go, there is some cake following somewhere.
You were in the French Navy.
Yes, so I did my national service in the French Navy. And I was very lucky because I did it at seas. So I was on the flagship to the French Navy with the helicopter carrier Jeanne d'Arc. And when traveling the world, I went away for 5 months visiting 14 different countries. I was at the age of 20.
And you came to the attention of the president.
Yes, so every year when it was time for the flagship of the nation to leave for his annual tour around the world, usually it was the Minister of Defence who was coming and waving goodbye in Brest, in Brittany, where I'm from. But that year, because it was a big anniversary, the President himself came. So that was my first official dinner or lunch, I will say, luncheon on board. I was the private pastry chef of the captain of the ship. Only in France that thing could happen. But basically, we were a floating embassy. We were traveling the world, promoting all the best of France have to offer, from the food to the wine to technology and everything.
Did the president taste your cakes?
He did, and he came to the back kitchen to thank us after lunch. Gave me some beautiful cuffling with his crest, which I still wear today.
Isn't that marvellous? What you produce is so beautiful. You were with the Roux Brothers, where I suppose the discipline is very strict, great emphasis on quality and presentation. What you have here is really superb. Shall we sample some of them? And what order do you think we ought to go in?
Well, this is the afternoon tea. I mean, I'm a big fan of afternoon tea, and I always say, skip lunch, skip dinner, go for afternoon tea, because I think it's such a great ritual, and it's one of the biggest British export, I have to say, and it's great. So this one is what we're going to serve, as you already perfectly mentioned, from Tuesday at Royal Ascot. So this is this year Royal Ascot afternoon tea. In numbers, we're talking about 6,500 cake, which is 6,500 afternoon tea. So 6,500 of each of those cakes.
So there are no cucumber sandwiches or anything like that. You're straight into the cakes.
Absolutely no cucumber sandwiches. We have some sandwiches, but we're giving them a little twist and keeping the modern twist as well. So it's quite a lot.
Where do we start?
I will recommend to start, if you are brave, with the cannoli here, which is a Valrhona chocolate mousse with a liquid salted butter caramel. So I would definitely use a spoon for this
is going to explode, is it?
It's going to. I think the magic word is oozing. We like
it is oozing. So you break apart the crust. Well, it's soft, but inside you've got a wonderful oozing liquid, which is going to be very, very difficult to eat on camera.
Salted butter caramel.
Oh my goodness.
So every year we try to
divine.
Elevate our offering visually and taste-wise as well.
But you begin with chocolate. That's surely the strongest taste of all, isn't it?
That will keep your taste buds, starting to work, and then you can light it up. Here we've got a honey cake, so that's made with British clear honey, and on the top we've got English rose flavoured frosting as well, which is a light cream cheese.
Let me have
frosting.
A go at that. Would you
Probably easier to eat. This is
this slightly easier. Oh, the beautiful decoration. We've got a little feather here, and so honey from somewhere in England.
Yes, it's a British clear honey, so coming from the isle, and it's you can use your finger on this one. Mm-hmm. So this year, obviously, it's an exciting year. I mean, it's going to be the first year without Her Majesty the Queen, but at the same time, the first year with the King. So again, this morning on Instagram, I reposted Royal Ascot just released the programme. And of course, the first programme with His Majesty initials on the front. So it's going to be quite a big year this year. And it looked like the weather is going to be with us as well.
Your clients are simply the greatest. I don't know whether there's any way of showing this to the television camera. I'm going to try anyway. I mean, that is so beautiful. What is it? How have you created all these lovely colours here?
OK, so this one is what we call an hybrid. So it's actually a choux pastry. So if you imagine a profiteroles, but before it goes into the oven, we put a little disc of short crust pastry on the top. And that's been flavoured with cherries, and we put a little bit of colouring inside, natural food colouring. And then you bake the two together, and you end up with that lovely crust on the outside, which in France we call craquelin. So it crackled on the outside, giving a great texture. And inside we've got a Kent sherry compote, vanilla bean paste, crème patissier, and a cherry mousse on the top with a little bit of dark chocolate. Right. I'm all about textures, colours.
Yes. Indeed,
which is very important.
Tell me a little bit about your this is breaking up. We haven't really provided well for this.
Exactly.
Tell me a little bit about your television career and do you enjoy it? Do you enjoy talking to people on television about your baking?
Absolutely. I love sharing my passion with baking, and most of the time people are always finding some excuse not to bake. Maybe 10 years ago before I started doing TV program. So I was always on the mission to share with people, first of all, my passion, but at the same time to demonstrate to them that it doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need a lot of crazy expensive equipment, and you can achieve something if you're going the right way. So we did some great TV series, including travel logs, which I'm sure you will have loved. We travelled all over Europe to follow the footsteps of the first celebrity chef/pastry chef, who was Antonin Carême. We went from Vienna to St. Petersburg to Paris, obviously, even to Brighton, where he was based. So my two passions, travel and my love of patisserie and baking. So it was really, really interesting. And I learned so much as well.
And that brings us to an important point about your cakes, which is that they're not all French by any means. There are many, many international influences in your cakes. Yeah,
always. So I've always been open to the world, and definitely my travel when I was in the French Navy, when I was pretty young, and then when I traveled with my parents, opened my eyes, as we say, and gave me a lot of inspiration. I like to say I'm classically French trained, but I like to get inspiration from everywhere. I always pick and choose, and I never copy and paste, because that I think is it's important. So I always.
And which countries, for example, outside Europe, make an important contribution to cake making?
Cake making, the US, they love their baking, so it's a big part of their side. And sorry for the Americans who are watching us today. The problem with the Americans is they love sugar, so they crucified everything by not using good quality chocolate or good quality ingredients. But at the same time, they are really, really passionate about their baking and their bakery as well. So when I go there, I always get like some maybe smell or textures and things, and then I take it back here and I twist it around using some good ingredients and, of course, my knowledge of patisseries.
I don't think I'm going to be able to eat this, but let's end our discussion of this tea with the scone.
Oh, my God. So
now, this is just one of the simplest things in the world, isn't it?
It is. So for this year Ascot, we're doing a lemon one, which is this one here with lemon zest and lemon oil. And this one is just a golden sultanas one. But I always say, when it's time for scone, in this country, I just love it. Forget about politics. If you're going to want to start a debate, it's all about cream first or jam first. And that's it. I mean, on my Instagram, sometimes if there's not much activation going on, I just put the question, you put a picture of a scone, cream first, jam first, and then the comment below is just, people get outraged by whatever you do.
I'm sure you do something, well, you've told us what you do with scones, you do something very particular, but I was getting at the simplicity of it. This is a very, very simple thing, and yet you're gracing it by making it part of your Ascot tea.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you go to Royal Ascot on Tuesday, there is many afternoon teas will be served around, but then there is the Royal Ascot afternoon tea, and this one is coming with my scone and my recipes, because you have to have a good scone. They have to be warm when they're served. So we're doing them at the last minute. So imagine every day we're baking 12,000 scones every single day.
I can't imagine that. What does that look like? What sort of plant? What sort of ovens do you have to enable that?
Huge deck ovens and a big army of chefs and runners, you know, going. Because the thing with afternoon tea as well is everybody turn up at the same time. So it's not like gradually. So we get like in different venues up to 500 people coming in all in one go. So it's not like a restaurant where you can step them in, you know, so which is great. But it's a big part of Royal Ascot. You know, Queen Anne used to go to what is now the Ascot racecourse to ride and to have afternoon tea because it was her favourite spot. And that's why Royal Ascot is there, or Ascot racecourse is there today. So it's a big part of it, and people expect it, and they expect something of high quality.
What's left for you to do? What are your ambitions?
I will really love to do a TV series, a travelogue around France, because people know the tarte tatin, they know the little specialities, but there is so many rural and traditional recipes on beauty and delicious who have never been showcased. So I think it would be great. Maybe you could come with me. We could go together in, 2CV or more glamorously into a Citroën DS and drive around France and discover all the specialities, which I'm sure people would just love and are so, nobody talk about.
Eric Lanlard, it's been absolutely marvellous to talk to you. Thank you for sharing these fantastic creations.